finish up our Beatitudes. I know, right? Long journey. We started this when? Before Thanksgiving? Something like that, right? But we finished up in Matthew 5. I'm going to flip back there just real quick. That's where we've been spending the last few weeks, is Matthew 5, the Beatitudes. We're going to end in Luke 6 today, because Luke also talks about the Beatitudes. And we've been talking about this in the context of our core values. So every time we've talked about it, each Beatitude is a core value to us. And what is it? Being poor in spirit, humble. That should be a core value for us, being that poor in spirit, being humble, because great is for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Blessed are those who mourn, for they shall be comforted. We should be mournful, not sad and depressed, but mournful for our own sin, mournful for what we've done to the cross, to Christ. Mourn for that, for our own death as sinners, and we'll be comforted by Jesus, going, now you don't have to weep, now you don't have to cry, now you don't have to mourn. Blessed are the gentle, for they shall inherit the earth. Remember, meek, not weak. We're supposed to have strength. We're supposed to, protect the faith, protect each other, protect ourselves. But you know what? Gentle. Do we live by the sword, or do we use the sword? And how do we use it? And which sword are we using? Is it a man-made one, or is it this one? Blessed are those who hunger and thirst for righteousness. You should be starving for righteousness. That should be a core value for us. Always thirsty, always hungry for righteousness. And where do we find it? Right here, nowhere else. Blessed are the merciful, for they shall receive mercy. Yes. Again, we all go back to that. Those who live by the sword die by the sword. Yes, if you live by it, you will die by it, so show mercy. Know when to use it, how to use it. But it's that mercy, that forgiveness, that's more important. The same mercy and forgiveness that God gives us. Because you know what? He should be using the sword on all of us sinners, right? We've turned against Him. But He's shown us mercy. So we continue to show that mercy. We have that as a core value. Pure in heart. Pure in heart. Only Christ can make us pure of heart. And we will see God only through righteousness, through holiness, through that mercy, through that grace, through that salvation that Christ provides. Only then will we be pure in heart. And that's what allows us to enter the kingdom with God, to stand with Christ forever. Blessed are the peacemakers. Always be out trying to make peace. Do not be out there trying to start arguments to prove that you're right. That's what we don't do. I'm right, you're wrong. No! Even if you are right, the manner in which you prove that makes you technically wrong. So being at peace, being a peacemaker. We're out there to bridge that peace. We are at war with God. Yes, we are. Sin is at war with the Creator. He made peace. We cross in peace. And we should be taking this out to the world and showing that, hey, we can't deliver peace, but we know somebody who can. So let me introduce you to him. Blessed are those who are persecuted, because that's going to happen. Now, I'm sorry if last week I sounded doom and gloom with persecution, but it was very hard to put a nice spin on, you're a Christian, you will be persecuted. It's very hard to put a good spin on this. It is a little bit of doom and gloom. But blessed are you who are persecuted, because you know what? If the worst that can happen to you is persecution, if the worst that can happen to you is death, good on you, because guess where you go? If you are faithful, you will be persecuted. If you're being persecuted, it means you're faithful. If you're faithful, you go to heaven. It's kind of a badge of honor. Now, I don't say go out and look for it, but blessed are you. So these have been our core values. We're going to do a wrap-up today. I said last week, this is kind of like, you go through the semester of school, and you learn, and the finals come in, and then right before the final, the teacher goes, let's do a big wrap-up. Well, lucky for you, there is no final. At least not one that I'm getting. That's what we're going to be looking at today, is Luke 6. And we're going to be looking at verses 20 through 26. I'm going to go also through the last part of the chapter, just to kind of give you a few verses. But, verse 20, I'll go ahead and I'll read this for you, these verses. So Luke 6, starting in verse 20. And turning his gaze toward the disciples, he began to say, Blessed are you who are poor, for yours is the kingdom of God. Blessed are you who hunger now, for you shall be satisfied. Blessed are you who weep now, for you shall laugh. Blessed are you when men hate you, and ostracize you, and insult you, and scorn your name as evil for the sake of the Son of Man. Be glad in that day, and leap for joy, for behold, your reward is great in heaven. For in the same way their fathers used to treat the prophets. But woe to you who are rich, for you are receiving your comfort in full. Woe to you who are well fed now, for you shall be hungry. Woe to you who laugh now, for you shall mourn and weep. Woe to you when all men speak well of you, for their fathers used to treat the false prophets in the same way. These are the Beatitudes of Luke. Now they're the same. Okay? Same place, Sermon on the Mount, same happening, but you got two different people watching. Right? Nothing here contradicts anything that Matthew is saying. It's the same thing. Reworded a little bit differently, but it'd be like me and anybody in here seeing something and then recalling something that something affects our minds. So that's the difference between Matthew and Luke. Like I say, they're just worded differently. Blessed are the poor in spirit. You get the kingdom of heaven. Blessed are those who hunger. You will be satisfied. Blessed are those who weep or mourn. You will be comforted. And blessed are the persecuted. You will receive your reward in heaven. Now what's interesting, Luke doesn't record, blessed are the gentle, who will inherit the earth. Blessed are the merciful, for they receive mercy. Blessed are the pure in heart, who will see God. And blessed are the peacemakers, who are called Son of God. He doesn't record those. But he's got a different focus. It's not that he doesn't think these are important or that he wasn't paying attention. He's got a different focus. And if you'll look, the focus, like Matthew's, how it ends with persecution, that's kind of what he's focusing on. He's focusing on the woes as well. You notice, blessed, 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 woe, woe, woe. Matthew doesn't talk about woes. He talks about blessed are. Luke's looking at the woes here. Talks a little bit about that persecution and says, hey, blessed are you who are persecuted, but you know what? Rejoice. It doesn't matter. Blessed are you who are hungry. Blessed are you who mourn. Blessed you will receive. What Luke is kind of doing is doing an Old Testament thing here. If you go to Deuteronomy, the law of God, the second law, that's what Deuteronomy means, and you go to the end of it, God tells Israel, after he gives them all these laws, not just 10, he gives them a bunch of laws. That way they can't find something that God hasn't thought of. And there are some laws in Deuteronomy that you're going, really? He had to spell that out? Like what happens when your bull tramples a fence? Figure we can take care of that ourselves, right? No, that's why he put it in the law. He covers almost every situation we need. But when he comes down to the end of this law, he says, if you follow me, you will have blessings. If you follow my law, you will have blessings. But if you don't, you will be cursed. Woe to you. Now, when we read through Matthew, it was blessed are, blessed are, blessed are. Our core values. If you do this, Jesus said, these are the essential characteristics you should have as a faithful follower of me. This is how you live out your life. This is how people should see who you are a mile away. So what happens to the people that aren't like this? Well, blessed are my people, and then, I guess, people that don't believe in Jesus, okay, whatever. No. That's where Luke is focusing on. Saying, no. Blessings, reward for the people that follow Christ. Not just believe in him, follow him. Faithful follower. Blessed are you. But you know what? He goes, woe. But woe, verse 24, to you who are rich, for you are receiving your comfort in full. You know what? We want to be rich in this world. And look, I'm not going to lie lie to you. I'd like a little bit more money in my bank account. All right? I don't want to be scrounging every day. Nobody wants to do that. What he's talking about is rich in how this world defines it, where your focus is so much on everything around you. This world system of sin. That's how we seem to be rich, right? Money, fame, power. That's how we're rich. What did Jesus say? No, store up your riches where? Heaven. Who cares what you have here? You can't take it with you. But for the people that deny Christ, that deny God, that are not faithful followers, their riches that they have, they're receiving their comfort in full right now. This is as good as it's going to get for them. Woe to us that want to be rich here, but not store our treasures in heaven. Because this is the best you're going to have. I'm glad you got about $1 trillion in your bank account. I'm so happy, because that's as good as it's going to get for you, because you got nothing else after you die. When we've got all the power and the fame and the glory here, I'm glad you got Super Bowl trophies. My team will never seem to own. So close, the Browns. So close this year, so close. Some prayers go unanswered for a reason. But yes, you can have your Super Bowl trophies. You can have the rings. You can have your Oscars. You can have accolades. What does it matter? That's as good as it's going to get. Woe to you who are rich now. Your comfort. This is the best comfort you're ever going to have. Because where you're going isn't going to be comfortable. Woe to that. Woe to you who are well fed now, for you shall be hungry. Remember in Matthew he says, blessed are those who hunger for righteousness. Well, woe to you who are well fed right now. Not on righteousness. We're well fed on what? What this world wants. What this world desires. What we think gets us full. You know what? Anybody like, they're called tornadoes, whatever they are. You usually get them at 7-Eleven, Turkey Hill. They're like the little fried tortilla. Yeah, okay, yeah, you know what I'm talking about. All right, somebody does. Yeah, they are delicious. I love that. I can spend my bank account on these tornadoes, and I will just eat them. Not exactly healthy. Not exactly healthy. They're deep fried. After about 2 of them, your cholesterol is about 3,226. Your blood pressure goes through the roof. They're delicious, and I just want to fill my stomach, and I do. I have a food baby afterwards. It is horrible. My stomach extends, but I'm like, oh, I'm so full, I'm so full, it's so delicious. I'm paying for it. I'm paying for it. I get indigestion. My health for that day is probably horrible. Oh, I'm well fed though, right? But what would have been better for me? Some oatmeal. Ugh. But some oatmeal with some fruit in it. I'll take tornadoes any day. A little bit of hot sauce. But that would be more healthy for me. Sure, I'm well fed, but what does it gain me? If I'm gorging on this world and I get full from it, I'm just eating all the fat and the deep fried sin. Sure, it's delicious, but it does me no good. I'm going to be hungry for later. I always make the joke about Chinese food. We always eat Chinese food and you can just stuff yourself, but I guarantee in 30 minutes you're going to be hungry again. It's like that. I don't know what it is. I love Chinese food, but you're always hungry within about 20 minutes of gorging yourself. That's what this world is. We gorge ourselves, gorge ourselves, gorge ourselves, gorge ourselves. And we try to be well fed, but it doesn't fill us. It gives us nothing. It gives us no spiritual nutrients. And we're going to be hungry again. And we got to keep going. You know what's good about Christ? You go to Him once, and you're filled. See, that's why our salvation, you don't have to keep going back to the cross. You go once. Lord, I'm a sinner. I know I've messed up. Forgive me. You're forgiven. Now, yes, we do need to say, Lord, I sinned today. I'm going to sin tomorrow. I'm a sinner. And we got to forgive. We got to ask for forgiveness for sin. But we don't have to have our original sin, that original repentance, that original salvation, that redemption of being considered his child, of being saved. We do not have to go back to the cross for that all the time. When you are saved, it is once and done, forever. We ask for forgiveness of our daily sins. But you know what? I sin today, Lord. I'm not going to sin tomorrow. I'm going to try really hard. And maybe you don't. 2 weeks later, you do something stupid, we got to go back to him. But see, we don't have to keep going back and go, I'm lost. No, you're not. You're found. You just keep messing up. It's okay. We got it. Christ knows. He gets it. Don't do it. Try hard. Live out these core values in your life. It's going to be easier, but when you do mess up, come to me. I fill you up. You will never be hungry for redemption and reconciliation and salvation ever again. Ever. Woe to you who laugh now, for you shall mourn and weep. I love to laugh, as you can tell. I don't try to take the word I take seriously, but pretty much anything else I don't. I love to laugh, and I think God has got a sense of humor. He did create us, after all. We have got to be the biggest joke in creation. Come on. That in Australia. I mean, just look at the animals there. God's got a sense of humor. I love to laugh. And he made things for us to laugh about. But they have to be aligned with him. So often does our laughter turn into mockery and belittlement. So often do we laugh at things that really aren't appropriate. Why are we laughing at that? I don't know about anybody else. Maybe I'm a prude. But I look at a lot of humor nowadays and I go, I don't find that funny. Okay, I like the old stuff. Three Stooges, Laurel and Hardy. Nobody is funnier than the Three Stooges. I'm sorry. Slapstick humor. You cannot watch that and hear and not giggle. That makes me laugh. But a lot of things don't make me laugh now because it's just, there's no humor in it. And a lot of it is mockery nowadays. Against everybody. Biggest target's against God. And we mock him and we turn that laughter that he gave us, that ability. If you've never laughed so hard that you can't breathe, you're not showing a video of my giggle fit. I get laughing fits. And I can't stop. But I love to laugh to where it feels like you've done crunches. And it just hurts. And you're like, I can't, please stop, I can't breathe. I love to laugh. But when we take that and turn it into mockery, that's not what God has given us. And so often now, we mock him and we laugh at him. We don't laugh with him. We laugh at him, at the mockery that we've created against God and his Son. No, we'll be weeping. Woe to you when all men, verse 26, woe to you when all men speak well of you, for their fathers used to treat the false prophets in the same way. Now I want you to back up just a second. See how it says, for their fathers used to treat the false prophets in the same way. Go back up to verse 23. For in the same way their fathers used to treat the prophets. Verse 23 is talking about people that lived out core values, that followed God, that were faithfully following Jesus Christ. Well, faithfully following God, we follow Jesus Christ. And their fathers, the prophets, were persecuted and they were hated. They were treated horrible. And he's saying, rejoice, because you know what? You're not the first one to be persecuted. Fathers treated the prophets this way. Good men that followed the Lord's law. When you look at 26, it's talking about when men speak well of you, woe to you when men speak well of you, because their fathers used to treat the false prophets in the same way. Following God gets you persecuted. But you stay true to the core values, to what God has said, to his law, to the love, that faith, obedience, and love. And you are not spoken well of. In fact, you are lied against. You are excluded, ostracized, cut off, beaten, abused, tortured, killed. Greatest of all that has happened. All happened to him. They did not speak well of him, did they? But yet they spoke well of who? The false prophets, the Pharisees, the Sadducees, the religious people, right? The people of this world. The people that took God's law and twisted it to their own needs. Thought they were above it. God creates man, man denies God. Now let's create our own system. Make it a little bit easier on us. Now let's just abandon the whole thing, right? Make up our own gods, little g's. Let's create something that isn't real because we want it easier for ourselves. Or we're going to believe in heaven because we like the idea of living forever, right? That's a nice idea. I like living forever. But God's way is too hard. So let's twist and make it easier for us to get in. And so they preach things that aren't found in this word. You know, this is the only place you can go for God. That's it. Yeah, there's a lot of good commentaries out there, a lot of good Bible studies. But if it doesn't start with this, they ain't worth anything. It has to start here. Anything that I tell you doesn't mean anything unless I'm preaching exactly what comes out of the word. Period. Those are the kind of people that aren't spoken well of. It's the ones that look at God's word and follow it. That look at his core values and live them out. But the ones that do what they want, that know better, think they are better, we see it all the time in this world. It's all around us. The craziness of this last year has kind of punctuated that, hasn't it? It's just been a crazy year. You get stuff flying all over the place. How much of that is following this? How much of the world follows the word? But yet it's the people that don't follow that are raised up and spoken well of. You know what? I am happy to never be spoken well of. I am so happy if, wow, he's a lunatic. He's crazy. He's nuts. He's out of his mind. Probably true on some counts. But that's okay. He's a radical. I am a radical. This man was a radical. He went radically different than what the world said. And he was hated for it. Now, if I'm being spoke well of, that's okay. We all want people to like us, right? We want to have a good rapport with the world, right? You're supposed to have a good rapport with sinners. Because how else are you going to be able to tell them about the gospel, right? If they hate you, how are you supposed to go, but I got some good news for you. Really, I don't like it. They're not going to listen. So how do we behave? How do we act? How do we live so that our rapport with them is good? We've been going over it, right? Those core values. They may still think we're a lunatic because we believe in some big pie in the sky dream. But you know what? We're humble. We're gentle. When we make peace, we don't go out and we look for trouble. We're always seeking for righteousness. We have that purity that Christ has instilled into our heart. And they go, yeah, you may be nuts, but you're an all right guy. Okay, that's okay for them to speak well of us. We need to have a good rapport with people so we can speak to them. What Luke is talking about is we never, as a faithful follower of Christ, I never want the sinful world to say, yeah, he's one of us. No, I'm not. I'm not one of this world. You can say he's a nice guy, and yes, I do want them to speak well of me. So that way, when they're seeking and when they're looking, they can go, yeah, you know that crazy guy? He's actually a nice guy. Go talk to him. But I don't want to be like this world. I don't want to be like it. That's the hard thing about being a Christian, isn't it? We know the truth. God's given us a set of values for us to live by. Something that's going to shine a spotlight on us. Expose us to the world. We're frauds, aren't we? We're fraudulent people living in this world because we're not following the world. But we're living the truth through Christ. It's a hard thing being a Christian because you, one foot, it seems like. We're all in with Christ, but we're still part of this world. We still live here. We still have this sinful, gooey stuff on us that we're not going to get rid of until Christ calls us home. But then we've got our foot in home with Christ. We're trying to live out our life according to the cross, according to Christ, according to His Word. We're still part of this world. It's very tough. It's very hard, especially with the anxiety that's just been compounding, and the fear and the anger that's been compounding. We all feel it. We all want to shut off our TVs. There are times I want to take my TV because I am tired of hearing news, and I want to go out to the middle of the road as a truck is coming and chuck it in front of it. I am done. Things get me so angry. That's because one foot is still stuck here. I'm still part of the world. And you know what? I'm going to get angry. And I'm going to get tense. I'm going to have headaches and stomach problems because I'm getting worked up. But you know what? God says, I'm giving you a set of core values. Yes, you have one foot stuck here in the world. You're a sinner still. I've forgiven you of your sin, but you're still in a sinful place. You're still in a broken world. You are going to sin. I know you're one of mine. You're going to keep trying. You're going to keep pushing that pendulum back towards me. And I'm going to forgive you because you're sincere. But I also know that you're going to get frustrated. You know what Jesus says? You don't think God is frustrated? I'm God. I came to this world. Do you know how much power I have? And yet they spit on me, and they mocked me, and they laughed at me, and they persecuted me, and then they stuck me on some wood. And they waited for me to die. And then, when I did, I rose myself up to show them, I am God. And I'm going to ascend to heaven, and I'm going to make a place for the people who follow after me. You're not alone, Jesus says. I've been through that. But did I start problems? Did I start a fight? I asked this last time, what really did Jesus change? He changed something spiritual, not physical, right? This world kind of remained the same. But He gave us something spiritual. He gave us a way to escape this broken world and its doom and damnation. He says, I'm giving you a way across. He gives us our values. The Word of God gives us those values. And He says, I know you're going to get frustrated in this world. So let me ask, why are we looking on our smartphones? Why are we looking on our computer screens? Why are we looking on our TV screens? Why are we looking at a news station or a movie or a TV show? Why are we looking at sports games? Why are we engaging with that? Why are we looking for that information there when we should be looking right there? All this is a distraction, and I love distractions. I love distractions. I love my video games. That's my fun distraction. I love playing them. But you know what? All that's going to do out there is get me worked up. Jesus says, I'm giving you something right here. We've gone over it. Our core values, those beatitudes. Those things in our lives that we need to live every day. No matter what is going on. It doesn't matter what this world is doing now, 1,000 years from now. We've got a great tribulation coming up. Oh, yeah. We got that to look forward to, right? But you know what? It doesn't matter what's going on in the world. Your life should not change in how you worship Christ. Period. That's the whole point of what we've been going over the last couple of weeks, is those core values that you live every single day, no matter what's out there, what distraction is out there, what's in our face, what we hear buzzing in our ears. It doesn't matter. Blessed are you who live according to these values. Woe to you who do not. It doesn't matter what the world thinks is right and wrong. It doesn't matter what the world accepts, what it fills itself up with, what it claims as riches. You know, finish reading this chapter, and it explains to us why it's important to have these core values, because when you run into situations, when somebody slaps you on the cheek, what do? You turn it. Is that the best you can do? Go ahead. Is this the worst that can happen to me? Do it. Hey, you want my coat? Take my cloak too. I got riches somewhere else. I'm not going to judge. I'm going to love people. I'm not going to condemn others because I was condemned. I want to stand up for faith. I'm going to stand up for myself, of course. But you know what? I'm not going to condemn. I'm going to preach. I'm going to evangelize. I'm going to follow what Jesus Christ did. He lived out those beatitudes, those core values, every single day of his life. He showed us how to live no matter what was going on around him. And we can do that as well. It's tough, but we can do it as well. He says there is no excuse for you not to remain a light in this world. As an example, it's one of the hardest things to do. Because what do? We follow in faith, obedience, and love. All this is about faith in Christ. That he knows exactly what he's doing, that he's got all things in control. So it doesn't matter what's going on in that world. He's in charge. So live like I told you to live. Use these core values. Make them a part of your life. Obedience. Obey me. Obey my word. I know what's right. I gave you core values. Obey those. Obey those life lessons that I gave you. Follow them. And love. If you have faith in Jesus Christ, you're living these core values out, and you're obeying what he says. You know what? Loving people, even though it's the hardest thing for humans to do. Even Luke talks about it. It's easy to love somebody who loves you. But it's harder. What is it? Verse 24. If you live to those, what does it say? 32, sorry. If you love those who love you, what credit is that to you? For even sinners love other sinners. Now that love is the hardest part. Loving others. That's what these core values are about. Love. Love and mercy from Christ to us. We show that love back to God, and we show it to other people. What good is it to love only Christians? What does it benefit us to love only those who love us? Go home today. Think about the one person you hate. You know, that guy that you just hate. It's Bob in accounting. We all know it. He drives us nuts. That one person. And go, you know what? Today I'm going to love them. I'm not going to think one evil thought about them. I'm going to love them. I'm going to pray for them. Because I'm going to show I'm poor in spirit. I'm humble. That I'm meek. That I'm gentle. That I seek righteousness and I have a pure heart. That I'm going to be a peacemaker. And I'm going to pray for this person. And I'm going to love them. And when I see them, I'm going to go, hey, how's it going? I'm not going to go, hey. No. Show that love. Go home and do that today. How many of us are really going to do that? Oh, okay, we'll give you credit. But it's hard. It'd be hard though, won't it? Because that is against our nature, our sin nature. Not our nature as God made us, but we are sinners. And it's so hard to do. As sinners, we want to go so against this stuff. We want to go so against these core values. We want to so against what God tells us. But he says, blessed are those who have these values in your lives, for you will be rewarded for them. You're going to stand out. You're going to be targeted. You're going to be looked at as different. But that's okay. Because you'll have a greater reward because you're following me. Blessed are those. Let's go out. Let's take these core values. You know, in Matthew, there's not that many. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Actually, there's one less than the 10 Commandments. We should be able to do 9, right? I know it's not a nice round number like 10. We should be able to do 9, so let's take these out and let's live them. Let's do the hardest thing that we can. And let's not let this world invade. Let's not let this world come and say, be distracted, 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 distracted. Let's not care what's going on in this world. Yes, we do need to care, you know what I'm talking about, but let's not get involved with it. Let's not let it bother us. Let's not let it get into us. We live no matter what is going on. I don't care what happens today. I don't care what happens tomorrow. 10 years from now, 100 years from now, it doesn't matter. Nothing should change the way I live. Our core values should be valuable. And if they are value, what's their worth to us? It's worth everything. It's worth everything. Because Jesus has given his life for us, given us that example, told us to live. Go out today. Let's go out today. Let's live these values every single day. And let's not let anything distract us. Let's have our values mean something more.